Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Fantasy Six Pack to talk about Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs head to New York to take on the Jets, and you caught me right in a moment of I was laughing because I normally do this video one take, right? Record one take, but this time I wanted to check the audio levels, and I said something pretty nasty. I probably shouldn't have said, and it's cutting room floor stuff, and so much I cracked myself up. And so when I went to hit record, I was still laughing at the nonsense in which I recorded. But it's not in this video, and I'm gonna leave it be. There's nothing you can do that I will never be able to share that video. So as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna delete it and we'll move on. As I said, we're gonna talk about Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs head to New York to take on the Jets, and we know how this thing is going to go. But before we do that, let's double back. Go to fantasy6pack.net and you can choose different packages. They're all-purpose package, and it starts as low as $9.99 a month for all access to everything we have going here. And it's not only just DFS and sports betting stuff. We have, let's just say if you're part of the family, we have one of the biggest collections of just sharp minds, rankings, projections, critically acclaimed, and they're award winning as well, as I should say. They always stay within the top 10. They've won awards for top 5, first overall at certain positions. So, if that's what you're into, then by all means, please become a member of Fantasy Six Pack here. And if not, then these videos will still be free. You can find me on Twitter at Detroit Beast. You can DM me, and I'm going to send you back over to the website to get involved with everything that they have and we have going on. Enough with the nonsense. Let's talk about Sunday Night Football. Kansas City at the Jets. Kickoff promptly at 8:20 p.m. And this game is going to go exactly how we think it's going to go. So if you remember correctly, if you've been watching my stuff long enough, I'm not going to call you a fan because we're one and the same, right? It's just I happen to have a camera and a ring light and some stuff, and I produce and I bring it to you. So we're one and the same. So I'm not going to say if you're a fan of my stuff, but if you've watched the last few videos, sometimes, right, I say I want to try and do things a different way every once in a while because a microphone and a camera with some stats can get pretty boring, right? I try and bring some energy and some positivity in a way to these videos, but what can we do here? So I'm going to take the chance here and tell you this. We're going to start from the end of the video and work our way back. I'm going to give you the final score, how we got here, and what we can do to kind of combat Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, because we know Mahomes and Kelsey are going to put up a ton of points. They're a ton of dough. So what are we going to do to combat that? Because again, if you're playing cash games, it's got to be about Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, maybe the Chiefs DST. You throw in a little bit of Isaiah Pacheco, something like that, and you're off and running. But if you're going to play in multi-entry GPPs like I do, and you're going to max enter stuff, we need other avenues here because Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey connection just isn't going to get it done. It's a wash unless you're playing in 3-man to 5-man contests. Then those two guys you're going to want to have, but they are a ton of dough. So let me give you the final score. Kansas City's going to win this one 35-14. It's going to be a total blowout. We can fall asleep at halftime. I fall asleep at halftime Sunday Night Football anyways, but this is how it's going to go. Kansas City's just going to lay waste to the Jets. Granted, the Jets defense is somewhat formidable. I've heard some things going around in that locker room where someone threw a football at Roberts, the head coach's head, and I mean it's just getting all bad there after Aaron Rodgers went down with that Achilles tendon injury, and it's like the Jets had so much potential, but this is Sunday Night Football. Kansas City wins this one 35-14. Okay, video over, 5 minutes in. We'll see you for Monday night. No, that's not going to be the case. Let's work our way back. How did we get to this point, Chris? And I'll tell you, Patrick Mahomes, $18,000 on FanDuel, $12,400 on DraftKings, $38 on Yahoo. And if you want him in the captain spot on DraftKings, he's $18,600. That is the price of a car, a beautiful, luxurious down payment on a house. We're looking at 24 to 25 completions, well over 300 yards passing, and again, multiple touchdown passes, probably 3, maybe 4. Who are they going to go to? I have, I have some ideas, but again, I mentioned this so many times, and especially when the game is in New York, it's like that, you get the wool pulling over your eyes, right? You get taken advantage of, right? It's the, who's ever open, to be fair. Patrick Mahomes has said that. We have, Sky Moore, Tony, Rice, MVS, even Justin Watson is in play here. Whoever is open is getting the football. There's not one true wide receiver one. So whoever's open is going to get the football. Me sitting here before you today, I can't tell you who's going to be open. We know their skill sets and what they're going to do, but to me, Patrick Mahomes is a can't miss kind of thing, but we already knew that. When we go down to Zach Wilson playing Kansas City's DST or defense, altogether, they're 6th overall against opposing quarterbacks right now, and Zach Wilson 12-5 on FanDuel, $9,000 on DraftKings, $20 even on Yahoo. What can we say about this kid, right? 17, 18 completions, 210 yards, 2 to 3 carries, 14, 15 yards, something like that. I want to shout out Joe Pisapia over at Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros. I caught a video from last week's Betting Pros where they had a New York Jets guy on with him, and this guy was he was so bummed out. He's a Jets fan. He said, oh my God, I can't believe it, but I'm going to take the under on Zach Wilson's passing yards, where I'm different here. I think Zach Wilson, they're going to be behind after the kick, right? As soon as the kickoff happens, they're already going to be down 14 something points. So I think Zach Wilson is going to have to do a lot within his reach, within his capabilities. What are those capabilities? Do we know yet? I'd like to think we kind of know Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson at this point, but I do believe he gets to around 210, 220 passing yards, and he throws for one. When we look at the running backs here, it's got to be about Isaiah Pacheco in, cash games, stuff like that. When you look at him, $12,000 on FanDuel, $8,400 on DK, $17 on Yahoo. Isaiah, I'm thinking 14, 15 carries, 65 to 70 yards, 2 to 3 receptions for another 20 yards. So you could safely say Pacheco will get to around 80 all-purpose yards. That's lovely, right? That is lovely. He is their kind of RB1, I would say, but you have Jerick McKinnon there. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I like a lot in this game, just based on garbage time stuff. And when you look at McKinnon, $10,000 on FanDuel, $6,800 on DK, $12 on Yahoo. I have McKinnon, 3 to 4 carries, 15 yards, 2 to 3 receptions, 20 yards. Any projections you look up for this game are going to be kind of just not half-assed, but they're going to be just like, fairy tale kind of stuff, or just like cupcake, kind of projections. Because again, the only thing we know is that Kansas City's going to win big, and you could tease this thing minus 15.5, and you can get that for plus 200, something like that. But where are these points going to come from in garbage time, in halftime? Like when you look back at last week, Kansas City beat Chicago 41-0. Who were the biggest benefactors in that game? And Clyde Edwards-Helaire got a lot of run in that one. He had 15 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown once things were out of reach, for the Chicago Bears, for the opposing team. So I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire makes for a nice move in a captain spot at, what is he, captain spot? He's $10,200 on DraftKings. He makes for an excellent move, just like presumptively, right? The first half is going to go as we think. It's going to be all the stars and the studs. But the second half is what I'm planning for. The second half of this football game is why I'm making this video. It's for us degenerates what's going to happen when it's 21-0, when it's 30-0. Who's going to get all these clock-eating carries, these first down grabs, stuff along those lines? If you catch my drift. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 8-5 on FanDuel, $3,000 on DraftKings, only $13 on Yahoo. As I said, 4 to 5 carries, 20 yards, 1 or 2 receptions, 10 yards, but that's the watered down stuff. That's like if it was going to be a competitive game. So to me, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets to that 7-8 carry mark. I think he goes over 50 yards. I think Clyde scores a touchdown again in the third or fourth quarter, and we move on. When we look at the New York Jets running backs, there's all the potential in the world, right? I've said this a million times. They draft Michael Carter. Hey, hooray, he's the stud. Then they draft Breece Hall. Hey, hooray, he's the stud. And then they bring in Dalvin Cook, and you're like, what are you doing here? And it makes sense from a real life football perspective, but from a DFS, it's just like, it's like my beard scratches anyway, so I might as well scratch it and use that to my advantage. But Breece Hall, to me, that's the guy you're going to want to go with. Obviously, Kansas City, 4th overall against opposing running backs. But again, all this DVP means nothing in this game, especially as I told you, this video is for us second halfers looking for garbage time. They're not going to give up on Breece Hall. He's 13 grand on FanDuel, 7-8 on DK, $19 on Yahoo. I'm thinking 12 to 13 carries, 60 yards, 2 to 3 receptions, another 20 to 25 yards there. Dalvin Cook, 10-5 on FanDuel, 6-2 on DK, $13 on Yahoo, 9-10 carries, 40 yards, 2 to 3 receptions for another 20 yards. Michael Carter, again, to me, is another beneficiary of this nastiness blowout of a game. So far, so good with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Michael Carter. Those are my two favorite running backs in the second half of a blowout here. And Michael Carter, 6-5 on FanDuel, $2,000 on DraftKings, $10 on Yahoo. You can get Michael Carter in the captain spot for only $3,000. It's beautiful. As I said, McKinnon in the captain spot at only 10 too. When we look at the wide receivers, as I said at the beginning of the video, who's going to be open? I'm going to put the cards here. I'm going to open my jacket, that's what I think of when I think of walking the streets of New York, right? Put your money down, watch the card, watch the hat, which wide receiver is going to be open? And I have a clue, and my clue is my gut. So let me run through these guys: Sky Moore, Tony, Rashee Rice, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Justin Watson. So Sky Moore, 9-5 on FanDuel, 6-4 on DK, $14 on Yahoo, 3 to 4 targets, 2 to 3 receptions, 40 yards. Tony, thank you, Tony. Tony, 8-5 on FanDuel, 5-6 on DK, $11 on Yahoo. Rice, 7-5 on FanDuel, 4-8 on DK, $12 on Yahoo. And then MVS is $8,000 on FanDuel, 5-4 on DK, and only $12 on Yahoo. And Mr. Justin Watson, $8,000 on FanDuel, 2-4 on DK, $11 on Yahoo. So to me, in my gut, out of those 4 receivers, I'm rolling with Rice and Justin Watson. Call me crazy. I've been called worse, but let's look at Rice. 4 to 5 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, looking at around 45 to 50 yards, and I think he does find the end zone. Same thing with Justin Watson. $8,000, as I said, on FanDuel. You're looking at 3 to 4 targets, 3 to 4 receptions. You'll love that kind of thing, right? 3 to 4 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, 35 to 40 yards, maybe even get to that 50, 60 yard mark if Mahomes, late in the second half and it's, already 21-0, the Jets turn it over on downs because they got nothing going. And Mahomes throws up, not a Hail Mary, but he says, hey, there's like 20 seconds left in the half. We're probably going to get the ball back anyways, depending on the opening kickoff. And so let me throw the ball to Justin Watson. And what are the chances that Watson catches that pass, 35 to 40 yard touchdown pass to end the half? Who knows? Granted, he is so far right now, Watson's averaging 22.6 yards a reception. You'll love to see that. On the New York Jets side of things, it's kind of, what are we going to do there? We have Garrett Wilson, right? And then we have all these guys that Aaron Rodgers brought in. Zach Wilson's like Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb. I don't know them. I have no means to move them, to give them the football. There's no bro code between Zach Wilson and Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb. Call me crazy, call me wrong, but Garrett Wilson is the stud in this offense, and he's going to be treated as such. Granted, KC 5th overall against opposing wide receivers, and if you've watched any Kansas City football, their secondary and some of their cornerbacks and even some of their linebackers are ball hawks. They get in your face, they punch the ball out, they fly around sideline to sideline regardless. When you look at Wilson, 13-5 on FanDuel, 9-6 on DK, $18 total on Yahoo. I'm thinking 8 to 9 targets, 5 to 6 receptions, 75 to 80 yards, and I think he does score a touchdown. He receives a touchdown, That's all well and good, but again, I have Kansas City winning 35 to 14, so there's one touchdown. Where's the other touchdown going to come from? More than likely, I'm hoping it's Michael Carter in garbage time, and we'll have him in a captain spot, so it's lovely. As we move down the list, Lazard, Cobb, Hardman, I'm all good there. If we're playing, like as I said, if we're playing, if this video is for us degenerate second halfers in a blowout garbage time kind of game, I would look towards Allen Lazard, probably the healthiest of the three. Even though McCole Hardman can be that downfield threat, they're just not using him, right? And Zach Wilson is very unable to support 4 wide receivers in 3 of these running backs here. So to me, Randall Cobb goes right out the window. Hardman, to a certain extent, he's got 1 foot out the window, 1 foot in the house, but give me Lazard, as I said, 4 to 5 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, 45 to 50 yards. And I think McCole Hardman makes a splash play or two, meaning, like a 25 to 35 yard reception. Is it a touchdown? Probably not, but at his price tag, 6.5 on FanDuel, only $200 on DraftKings, the bare minimum $10 on Yahoo. I think Hardman will make his way into some of my lines for us second half garbage time people. When we look at tight end, what more can you say? It's Travis Kelce, and that's it. Noah Gray, Blake Bell have been relegated to just, we'll see you later. You can sit on the bench, wear some shoulder pads, hang out in the blue tent, wherever. I don't know, but to me, if Travis Kelce is healthy, that's all you need to know. The Jets, and to get this is crazy. Let me catch my breath for a minute. The Jets, 30th overall against opposing tight ends. This one could get nasty for, people that are going against Travis Kelce in seasonal formats. And you hate to have your Sunday end this way in seasonal formats with this combo. But Kelce, 15 grand on FanDuel, 11 grand on DraftKings, $34 on Yahoo, and he is $16,500 in the captain spot on DraftKings. 9 to 10 targets, 6 to 7 receptions, 75 to 80 yards. He will score a touchdown. He'll do his dance. He'll point to the skybox wherever she's sitting. We know who she is. And let's move on. Tyler Conklin, CJ Uzomah. Which two of those will benefit most in this blowout second half garbage time? It would be Conklin. KC, 12th overall against opposing tight ends. Does that matter? Conklin, 7 grand on FanDuel, only $1,600 on DraftKings. The bare minimum, $10 on Yahoo. When you look at Conklin, 4 to 5 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, 35 to 40 yards. Is he our second touchdown guy for the Jets? Could be, actually that makes for a nice little parlay. Put Garrett Wilson and Tyler Conklin each catching a touchdown, which would then bump up Zach Wilson a bit for throwing 2 touchdowns, 220 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Respectable stat line. As a guy recording this video to you, that's very respectable. But when we look at the DSTs, it's got to be all about the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 11 grand on FanDuel, 5-2 on DK, $18 on Yahoo. We're looking at 3 to 4 sacks bare minimum. I'm thinking an interception or 2 without saying, and maybe a fumble recovery or so. And I'm thinking, as I told you, the final 35 to 14. So you're looking at no more than 14 to 15 points against. That helps the defense, but so does the sacks and the interceptions. When we look at the kickers here, it's Harrison Butker or Greg the Leg. Obviously, I'm going to lean in Butker's favor just based on 4 for 4 extra points, 2 for 2 field goals. He's going to be active. He's going to play very well. He is 9 grand on FanDuel, 4-6 on DK. Couple recent betting trends. We'll get the heck out of here in under 20 minutes in what should have been a 5-minute video, but I didn't think I couldn't do that to you. Some of these other videos may say we're just regularly scheduled programming. We're just here to say load up on Kansas City, they're going to blow them out, and we move on. But I thought it necessary to produce a video for us degenerate second half garbage time people. And here we are. There it is. Kansas City 2-1 against the spread. The Jets 1-2 against the spread. And again, final score: Kansas City wins this one handedly, 35 to 14. And I wrote little stats up here. You can get Kansas City minus 15.5 points for plus 200. So when you look at this, Kansas City's going to win big. And again, in garbage time, I love the idea of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Michael Carter, Justin Watson, and Rice, and we'll move on from there. So be good, be safe, and I'll see you again for Monday Night Football. Maybe a more competitive game, maybe not. We shall see. So until I see you again soon, Kansas City wins this one. No big shocker here, 35 to 14. Be good, be safe. Bye, everyone.